Lolly-ho! So, you're a wee little sprout and you see all the other warriors of light running around looking all fancy, shiny, and, like that. Well, don't you worry. One day you can look like that too. And that day is today! Because Final Fantasy XIV has a fantastic system called Glamour. Glamour, or Glam as the cool kids say, is the ability to make your armor look like other pieces of armor while still retaining its original attributes. For you WoW players out there, it's basically transmog, but flashier. So how do you do it then? Well, first, you gotta get a job to level 15 and have access to Western Thanalan. Head on over to Vesper Bay and pick up the quest, If I Had a Glamour, from a rather colorfully dressed lass named Swirgrave. Once complete, you will now have access to the Glamour skill found under the General section in your Actions and Traits window. So now, let's get glamming. Firstly, you'll need to know about two very important items needed for glamming: Glamour Prisms and Glamour Dispellers. Prisms are used to individually glamour an item or to put an item into your Glamour Dresser. We'll get to that in a minute. Glamour Dispellers are clearly for removing glamour from an item. All Disciple of Handjobs classes can make Glamour Prisms, so you can make them for yourself or you can buy them on the market board. You can also use 200 Grand Company seals to buy them as long as you have the rank of Chief Serpent, Flame, or Storm Sergeant, depending on your Grand Company, from your Grand Company Quartermaster. The prisms are available in the middle tier section under the First Material tab. Lastly, you get a few here and there from quests, but you'll probably go through those pretty quickly. To glamour an individual item, you'll need to left-click on it and choose Cast Glamour, then choose the item you want it to look like. To remove the glamour, you'll need to do the same, but this time choose Remove Glamour. Simple, but we're not done yet, because I gotta tell you about Glamour Plates and the Glamour Dresser. Glamour Plates are a set of 15 different outfits that you can have all set up and apply with just a click of a button. However, Glamour Plates can only be activated in a main city or housing ward. But how do you set up a Glamour Plate? For that, we need to use the Glamour Dresser. I know it sounds complicated, but once you get the hang of it, it's quite simple. First, you gotta head to an inn in one of the main cities. Once you're in your room, find the fancy gold dresser and click on it. This is your Glamour Dresser. It allows you to place items within it for use on your Glamour Plates. It's important to note that it does require the expenditure of a Glamour Prism to place an item in the dresser. However, you do not need to use a Glamour Dispeller Prism to remove it. To add items, simply choose the inventory slot and click the item you want to add. Be sure to have Hide Items registered to gear sets toggled on so that you don't accidentally throw one of your pieces that you actually need in there. You see, when you add something to a Glamour Dresser, you will no longer have access to that item as a regular equipable item. Well, not as long as it's in the Glamour Dresser. The good thing is you can always just right-click on the item and then choose Restore Item to retrieve it from the dresser and back into your armory. Anyway, add as many items as you want to have access to their looks. It's also important to note that an item has to be at 100% durability before it can be added, so repair up! Once you've got your items placed in your dresser, click Edit Glamour Plates at the bottom. Here, you have access to 15 different slots for your outfits. Make as many as you want. You can also click on Dispel Glamour if you want to remove your glamour from certain items. This is also a good way to see what your current gear looks like without a glam if you've already applied some. You can check or uncheck any item that you want to dispel the glamour from, but remember, this takes a Dispel Prism. It's also important to point out dyes. Dyes can be purchased from the market board, crafted, attained from quests, or even purchased from vendors. Once you have the dye you would like to use, right-click on the item in your inventory and choose Dye. You can then see what the dye would look like on the item you choose. Reflect will set the item to be dyed once you click Save in the Glamour Plate window. You can also individually dye items in your character menu by right-clicking on it and choosing Dye. Lastly, you have the Armoire. This dresser is a separate dresser that it's meant for holding things like veteran reward clothing items and seasonal clothing items. I highly recommend putting anything that can be placed in the Armoire into it. It doesn't use a Glamour Prism and it helps you not lose it. And that's pretty much it for glamming, but here are a few small things I'd like to mention. There's an emote called Visor that you can use to open and close the visor on some helms. You can also click this button below your character here to do the same thing. Down here, there is also a Hide Weapons and Hide Helm button as well. Now, if you want to hide other slots as part of a glam, you'll need some Emperor's New Gear items. Once you get them, just place them in your glam dresser and assign them accordingly to hide whatever gear slot you'd like. You can purchase the gear on the market board or in Vesper Bay by a vendor named Gobrin, though you have to have a Disciple of Hand class up to at least level 15. Another useful tip is, when you're looking at some items in a gear set from a vendor, you can click Save/Delete Outfits. This will make it so when you choose another item to try on, it keeps the previous item you tried on equipped so you can see what they look like together. Well, I hope that was helpful. It was a lot for sure. Anyway, if you liked the video, be sure to like, comment, subscribe. Make sure you watch out for Jen and Eric streaming on twitch.tv/JenEricLive. They play a lot of Final Fantasy XIV and a few other things. Sometimes I'm on the stream. Things like this happen. People say that Final Fantasy XIV turned World of Warcraft players into weebs. That's ridiculous. And then cut to me going, yatta! We'll see you next time, and remember, keep your forge hot and your ale cold.